Hi guys. So today we're going to be talking about some more properties that you need to know in order to establish a trig identity. So this set of identities are the Pythagorean identities. They start out with sine squared plus cosine squared is equal to 1. These are called the Pythagorean identities because they come from your Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, or x squared plus y squared equals r squared. So you need to know this Pythagorean identity, sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. You could also solve this for the sine squared and get sine squared theta is equal to 1 minus the cosine squared theta if I were to subtract the cosine from both sides. We could also solve this for the cosine squared theta. That would equal 1 minus the sine squared theta if I subtracted the sine squared from both sides. You need to be familiar with all three of those Pythagorean identities. The next Pythagorean identity is the tangent squared theta plus 1 equals the secant squared theta. And again, I could solve this for the tangent squared and get the tangent squared of theta is equal to the secant squared theta minus 1, subtracting 1 from both sides. Or I could solve it for 1 and find out that 1 is equal to the secant squared theta minus the tangent squared theta. Again, there's three more Pythagorean identities that you need to be familiar enough with that when you see them, you know that if you see secant squared theta minus tangent squared theta, you can replace it with 1. And the last set of Pythagorean identities is the cotangent squared theta plus 1 equals the cosecant squared theta. And again, I can solve for the cotangent squared theta is equal to the cosecant squared theta minus 1 by subtracting 1 from both sides. And then I could also solve it for 1 by saying the cosecant squared minus the cotangent squared is equal to 1. And like in the previous video that I did on the properties, these are 9 Pythagorean identities that you need to be familiar enough with that when you see them, it clicks in your head and you go, oh, that sine squared can be written as 1 minus the cosine squared, or the tangent squared can be written as the secant squared minus 1. So get familiar with these so that your establishing identities will be easier.